Lauren, in today's context, what is digital poverty and why is it such an unknown issue when it comes to our conversations?
Yeah, thanks, Isa. Great question. I would say digital poverty is something that's always existed. And I think those that work with kind of slightly disadvantaged people, it's something that is really nothing new. But I guess what the pandemic has done is it's really brought it to light to people that maybe have never really experienced or even thought about it being an issue. Really just the idea that having access to technology and internet is an essential, it's not a luxury anymore. In order to access any kind of education or gain employment or stay in employment, having access to Wi-Fi, to data, to be able to be on the move is really important. And without it, you miss everything in some ways. So I think it's obviously great that opportunities are being created to support people, and often those that fit into that BAME category. But if they can't access those opportunities because they don't have the resources, there's obviously still a massive gap and a long way to go. We saw ourselves, or I saw myself yesterday, through the foundation, we run a bursary program in which individuals that wish to study one of our qualifications but due to financial need can't apply for funding. And it's something we've done for years and years, and there's always an interview process just to get to know the candidates a little bit better before we award them. And only yesterday I conducted an interview myself with a young lady who had no access to any kind of internet, and so her first question was kind of via email, how am I going to attend this? So it definitely threw up some new challenges for us in looking at, if we're wanting to work with people who are kind of furthest from employment, what can we do to kind of combat some of the issues they face? So whether that's working slightly more flexibly, whether it's looking at application process to see what actually needs to happen and what information do we need from these people, and do we need them to access technology to do that?
And interestingly, what you highlighted is the fact that there is a period of transition when it comes to an individual exploring opportunities, but not having the right tools in place.
Exactly. So often there's a lot of initiatives that are out there that have the potential to work really well, but they often stop at a certain point, because if you're pushing these opportunities out online, but the people that need them most can't access them, especially in that of the pandemic, where potentially young people, for example, might have used college resources or college laptops, computers, pulling that resource away and just assuming that every young person has a smartphone to tap into, which I think is kind of a broad stereotype that kind of people think nowadays, when in reality they don't. You have people that potentially need the resources because of obviously our gaps and disadvantages to them, but those that are most disadvantaged don't even have that kind of basic layer of support, in the fact that they don't have access to even view the opportunities to begin with. So I think it's obviously great that on one side they're being created, but there is almost a gap in that what can we do to help those that need it the most also have access and they can take advantage of those opportunities.